Okay, so this is part 2 of day 2. We're going to be we're going to be designing about 3 or 4 layouts of this stand here. The last section we pulled in the boundary for the Beatty property and laid it on top of a live streamed aerial photograph from the NC1 map website. So always make sure that you go ahead and save your project. And I already saved mine as Beatty 1, and I saved it into the projects folder, so it's in the right spot. I know where I always know where to go look for that project if I need it. All right, so I'm going to take this Beatty boundary, and like I said, typically this is what you'll end up with. You'll find a parcel from the large parcel map, and you'll pull that in on top of some aerial photography, and this is kind of your starting point. So the first thing I'm going to do is break this up into timber stands, and I want to keep this original boundary. I don't want to mess that up, so I want to basically make a copy of that file. I don't use copy here. What I do is when I right mouse click the file, I don't copy it. I actually go to data, and I'm going to export it as a separate file. Okay, so I want to make sure this is pointing to the right folder. The GIS data, the Beatty shape files. I've cleaned it up. I've removed all the other files from it. So I'm going to call this one timber stands. And let's hit save. And add that. Okay. And like Beatty boundary, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to make it a different color. I'm going to hollow it, but I'm going to make it a different color outline. I'm going to make it blue just so it stands out. We can kind of see what's going on. All right. So notice it's sitting on top of the Beatty boundary. I'm going to turn Beatty boundary off just so it's not in the way when I start doing my digitizing. So I'm going to assume that I have got one timber stand here, one timber stand here, and one timber stand here, just for the purposes of this exercise. So I need to put this in edit mode. So that's the first thing I want to do is first thing I want to do is make sure that it is the only selectable layer in this series of layers. So when I click on it, that's the only file that's going to be selected. So I right mouse click it and go I go to selection, set as make this the only selectable layer. Okay. Then the next step is go into edit features. I right mouse click, edit features, start editing. And it's giving me a little whine because it doesn't like the way the imagery has the spatial reference. No big problem. So I click, so that the create features should pop up. This is my editor toolbar. I'm just going to move it over here so it's a little bit easier to see. My create features window popped up on the right hand side. If it doesn't, however, how you turn this on is by clicking on this tool right here. Okay, it's in the editor toolbar, so you click on that and then this will pop up. I can select timber stands at that point. It shows me all the construction tools that are available for drawing that. The only one I really want to work with at this point is this cut polygons. I've already got a polygon here. I just want to chop it up into different timber stands. So cut polygon. Oh, first I have to select. I did that on purpose so that you could see. First thing you need to do is in the toolbar use the edit tool selector. I click on the polygon. Notice it's selected now. And then I can go do the cut polygon tool. So I start outside the polygon and I let it snap to that point right in the corner, and I'm just going to go straight across. So I can do lines all through it if I want, if I can see a real definite line between those. And then I go across over the other side and I double click. Okay, easy as that. So I'm going to do it again. Notice this is still selected, so I can go ahead and cut through there. So I'm going to start outside again. I'm going to let snap to that corner, and then I'm going to kind of follow the road. It's in there a little bit, and go out the other side and double click. Okay, so pretty easy, right? So I'm going to go editor, stop editing, and there's my new timber stands. Okay. When I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and I probably want to shade these based on the timber stands, and I probably want to have a little bit of information about them. So I'm going to open up the database table for the timber stands and start what we call populating the database with data. Okay, so I right mouse click it, I go open attribute table, and there's my database table. It just has the 3 columns of information that is that's actually created when you create the file, so that's no big deal. I'm not going to use those at all. What I am going to do is create 3 new columns, and actually I'm just going to create 2. All right, and I'm going to call these different timber stands just for fun. So anyway, so the first thing I'm going to do is I click on the table options, add field. The first one is going to be a text, and I'm going to call it timber type. Make sure that I set that as a text, okay? And I can use whatever number I want here for length. I'm just going to leave it at 50. That's how many characters long the answer can be. And it doesn't like it when you put spaces in the name, and they only want you to go so many letters long in the name, so it reduced it to this timber underscore type. And and that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. So I'm going to make this a little bit wider. So I'm going to create another column here. I'm going to call it acreage, so it can do the acreage calculations. So I go add field. I'm going to call it acres, and I'm going to leave this as an integer, okay? And with a precision of 0, that's fine. But an integer is a number with no decimal places, okay? So, and that's fine. Basically, I'm saying just round to the nearest whole acre on it. And I click OK, and there's the acres. Now, I think I explained to you in class that ArcInfo's got a couple of nuances. One of them is that you cannot create these columns while ArcMap is in edit mode. So we had to take it out of edit mode, and then we could go ahead and create these columns. And then to actually put information back into these columns, you have to go back into edit mode. So here's the editor. I'm going to start editing, and it's just giving me, yeah, there's some good stuff there. Just go ahead and click on it, and let's go. So what I want to be able to do is to make sure I'm putting in the correct timber type for the correct polygon. So I click on the button on the far left side. So here is what I'm going to call young yellow poplar. I'm not putting in the age, so I'm just going to say young yellow poplar. Okay. And for this one, which selects down there, I'm going to call it mature oak hickory. And then, of course, this one here must be that one. I'm going to say mature yellow poplar. Okay. So that's looking pretty good. Then the next thing I want to do is go ahead and populate this with the acres. So what I don't want to do is keep this selected when I do it, because when I calculate the acres, because it's only going to calculate it for the selected polygon. So what I'm going to do is clear all the selected. That's this tool right here. Clear selection. Okay, so there's nothing selected there. And I'm going to right mouse click on the acres column, the title. Okay, and I have this calculate geometry. So I click on that. The property that I want to calculate is the area. I don't want to do the perimeter or any of these x coordinates. I want to calculate the area inside. It's going to use the North Carolina State Plane Coordinate System, and that for some reason it always defaults to square feet for that. So I want to set that to acres. That's really the only thing I need to change in there. And I hit OK, and boom, done. Just as nice as can be. So now I've got stuff that I can actually map, right? I can map it based on the timber type, or map it based on the acres. And we'll do that when we start getting into the final layout. Okay, so that's it for this one. Oh, before you're finished, make sure you save. And if you're in edit mode, make sure you get out of edit mode when you're all done with that. So one more time, I'm going to just save my project. Okay.